Hi, we're about to talk about the Ken OLW2 controller, how it's wired. Most of the readers that you'll get will come like this with an instruction sheet that has the wiring diagram inside for the controller, for the reader. They all have the same wiring colours: black for ground, green for Wigan 0, white for Wigan 1, red for power, which is 5 volts or 12 volts, but normally 12, brown for the lead, and yellow for the sounder. You see the switch here? This is to set 5 volts or 12 volts for the sounder, for the reader. It's in the 12 volt position at the moment because I have a 12 volt reader attached. Coming around the terminal blocks, we have the request to exit input, the door sense input, A and B for the network, and the ground connection. The request to exit goes to a switch, which then goes to ground for opening the door from the inside normally. The door sense is not normally used, but it can be used if you want to monitor the door remotely to find out if it's closed or open. Coming around this side, we have the relay contacts. There's two sets of relay contacts and a spare ground connection. The relay contacts are set to normally open or normally closed by these two jumper connections. Over here we have a sounder selection switch. That's in the normal position, which is pull down, and the other one is pull up. This is used for the processor, which is only used during programming. When we come around here, we've got the 12 volts connections, two 12 volt connections there, and 3 more ground connections. The Wigan, this wiring here that we've shown here connected, that can be up to 100 meters from the controller. And with a Wigan reader like that, you'd normally have if there's more than one door, the two controllers could be situated beside each other, close to the power supply. Separate leads would then be taken from the power supply to the door strikes from these connections here on the relays. Getting back to the network has a minimum distance of 1200 meters. With the Wigan units, you can mount them side by side, and so the length is not important because it's not in consideration. The power is 12 volts. It's onboard regulator, so it's not critical. The reader, a lot of them say it needs to be linear, from a linear power supply, in other words, not switch mode power supply. You could void the warranty if you use a switch mode power supply on it. However, if you take it off this board here, because of the extra filtering on the board here, that is not a consideration, not a problem. The ID, when you turn the power on the board, this LED will flash the ID. It could be between 1 and 62. In fact, it'll be set to 1 when it comes from the factory, and with only one door on your network, you don't need to change that. If you have more than one door on a network, and you can have up to 62, you need to set that. The software for doing that is called the Ken configuration software, and you require a special cable. That's called the Axeze hardware lock, and it's available from Axeze. This connector here is used when you set the ID. The hardware lock plugs into there and into your laptop or PC, whichever you're using. The relay outputs 1 amp at 30 volts is the rating of the relay, and that's normally more than enough. Your power supply wiring, you take that strike current into consideration when you're deciding what wire to use. But the controller only uses 40 milliamps, so it's not too much of a consideration there.